Welcome to Every Coach Needs a Coach, the podcast for coaches of all sports and all age groups to learn from coaches and people they may otherwise never have the chance to meet. Today's See One, Do One, Teach One, I'm going to tell you guys a story about decision making. Once upon a time, there was an old king, and he was loved by everyone in his kingdom. He clearly cared for them and made sure that they had safety and clean food and water and an environment that they could really thrive and excel in. But sadly, the king's time was coming to an end, and he knew that his grandson was going to be his successor. His grandson wanted to lead the kingdom just like his grandpa did, right? He wanted to carry on his legacy. So he took his grandfather to lunch one day, and they laughed and they talked and appreciated their time together. And after things had settled down, the grandson asked his grandfather how he built his reputation and raised the kingdom to what it was. So the grandfather sighed and he told his grandson he'd have to wait till that night to get his answer. So darkness fell over the kingdom, and the king took his grandson out on the balcony, and he pointed to the brightest star in the sky. Just kind of pointed at it and looked at it, and it happened to be the North Star. So grandson was a little confused, and they stood there silently for what seemed like an hour, with his grandfather just looking up and staring at that star in silence. So finally, the grandson's curiosity got the best of him. He said, "Grandpa, what does the North Star have to do with your legacy and reputation and building the kingdom up?" The grandfather sighed again, and he didn't take his eyes off the North Star as he started to speak. He said, "When I became a king, I had a similar conversation with my father that you're having with me right now. And whenever I had to make a hard decision or decide what was best for the kingdom, my father would come out here and he would stare at the North Star. He said to me, our kingdom is guided by that star, not the star itself, but really what it stands for. And whenever I look at it, I remember what my father told me and what his father told him. And that is that love is what guides our kingdom. And if there's a decision that I have to make, love is my North Star. I try to imagine what a kingdom would look like if they had a king who really loved them. And I always let love guide that decision, knowing that if I acted out of love and pure, genuine intentions to do what is best for the people in this kingdom, that I knew I could never go wrong. And some of those choices were really easy, and some of those choices were very hard. But if I made them with love as my guiding star, I knew that it was going to be what was going to be best for the kingdom. So my challenge for you as coaches, what's your North Star? We make decisions, so many in a day, right? We make decisions about our team. I'll speak to sports specifically. We make decisions about who to play and where to play and when to play them and when we're practicing and what we're doing at practice and how we're conditioning them and lots of other things. How are you making those decisions, and what is the principle behind that decision making, right? One of mine, I'll give you an example, is injury risk reduction, right? I'm a physical therapist. I'd rather see these kids not in my office. So when it comes to how I'm going to condition them, that's why. And my kids know that. I communicate that to them so they know I'm not just running them to run them. I'm running them so that our bodies are prepared and resilient in games for a 25-game season, that we can bounce back and we can be strong for that. So I would challenge you to think about what principle, what your North Star is. What is it? What guides your decisions? What makes tough decisions that much simpler to figure out? I appreciate you. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Keep getting better every day.